Hello, everybody, and welcome to the live webinar on Unlock New Growth Opportunities Through Digital Transformation. A few logistics before we start. This is going to be a recorded webinar, so if you do not want to be on a recorded line, please hang up now. Also, at the very end of the presentation, we will have a question and answer section. Please enter any questions that you may have throughout the presentation in the Questions tab, and we'll address those at the end. With that, thank you so much for joining us today. I would like to introduce you to our speakers. First, we have Prabith Kalathil. He is the regional head for Nihilent in Africa. He has more than 18 years experience across various areas, including market research, consulting, sales, and business development. As a certified change practitioner and regional head, Prabith is entrusted with enhancing the company's image in the region through building strategic relationships with clients and industry stakeholders. Our second speaker is Mr. Sabahat Kazi. He is the Global Head ERP at Nihilent. Sabahat has more than 25 years of experience, out of which 22 years have been in the SAP ecosystem. He has led multiple SAP implementation projects and programs for digital transformation. He regularly presents at SAP summits and events. Additionally, he mentors SAP consultants, solution architects, and is hands-on SAP S/4HANA practitioner. Our third speaker for today is Mr. Ravine Lala. He is a customer advisor at SAP Africa, focusing on the consumer industry. Ravine has been working with customers across industries in supply chain solutions for over 11 years and has successfully implemented SAP solutions across Africa and continues to assist customers on their digital transformation. With that, I would like to hand it over to Prabith.
Sure. Thanks, Cheryl, and a very warm welcome to all of you who are joining us from the comforts of the home to listen to some of the topics that we're going to be discussing today. For those of you who are joining me from South Africa, Sanbonani, Hoedag, Molweni, Dumelang. Before we get into the thick of the things, I think it's very important to understand that digital transformation as a topic has been of paramount importance all this while. But I think given the developments that we have seen in the last year or so, it has become all the more important, irrespective of which industry you come from, irrespective of which domain you belong to, irrespective of any geography for that matter. The very fact that we see today digital being talked about in every meeting and every interaction and every boardroom discussion tells us the significance of this particular topic. But before we get into the thick of the things, I would like to just take you through the broad agenda for this afternoon's webinar. We'll be briefly touching upon who we are, what we do as Nihilent. So we're definitely going to be covering that as part of About Us Nihilent. We will definitely talk a bit more about age of intelligence, business challenges that we are seeing in today's scenario, some of the key technology enablers that we will be talking about, and then rounding it up with the roadmap. And Ravine from SAP, who has joined us for this webinar. Welcome, Ravine. He'll be taking us through a specific topic around farm to fork, and then talking about and showing us a demo and taking us through the entire journey on that front. Yeah, so with that, I would like to just share a little bit about Nihilent. As Nihilent, we were born here in South Africa way back in the year 2000, so more than 21 odd years of close association with the geography, working with various organizations out here of varying size, scale, complexity, and across various industry domains, solving various problems, right from relating to business model redesigns to technology transformations to innovation, to name a few. But before I can talk any more about Nihilent, I would definitely love to share a little bit more about our positioning statement. Very interesting. Nihilent is a global consulting and services company that uses human-centered approach for problem solving and change management. And I think the whole aspect around of human-centeredness is very key today. At the end of the day, organizations exist, for serving their customers who are human beings. The means of delivering their services is through employees who are human beings. And it's important that, while digital and while technology and platforms can prove to be the means, at the end of the day, who are consuming those are human beings. So human-centeredness is something which is of paramount importance and has gained far more relevance in today's world, where we are all sitting our own comfort, but we are all connected to each other. And through digital means, we are engaging with each, with our fellow colleagues, peers, family members, and friends for that fact. Nihilent's comprehensive range of expertise in, across, various aspects of change management definitely helps us to be of a proven choice for our clients to partner with. And how we do it and how we deliver on it is through, various means. And what you see on the screen are a portfolio of our services, which ranges right from business transformation. In these times, it's of key importance for organizations to repurpose them to ensure that they are relevant for their clients and customers. And in doing so, they need to go and question the very fact, the core business model for that matter. We do work very closely with some of our clients in terms of achieving these key objectives. Digital transformation, these are just, and you will be getting to hear more in the session today. Brand and marketing transformation of paramount importance. I think through the various aspects of brand content, marketing strategy, brand positioning, customer research, and integrated digital marketing, we have been able to really help organizations reinvent their entire go-to-market and how they actually approach their clients and customers in the market, and how still remain competitive in such times. Platform and technology transformation, various aspects of application development, be it commercial off the shelf, and you will get to hear more about our competence in that space when my colleague Sabahat talks about it. Last but not the least, data and extensive experience right across all parts or all the entire journey of data for that matter, be it data infrastructure, data engineering, data visualization, and taking it to the analytics part where we help organizations look into the future. Because data can speak, and when data speaks, it actually gives a lot of insights, for businesses to base their decision. So I think with that, I will pause on my side and hand it over to Sabahat, who is going to get into the thick of things as far as digital transformation with SAP is concerned. So yeah, thank you very much. Over to you, Sabahat.
Thank you, Prabith, for giving that overview of Nihilent. And I think, Prabith, one of the most important things, one of the key pillars, in fact, in transformation for our customers is SAP. So I would like to just give you a brief flavor of what all do we do in our SAP practice. We have worked with more than 250 customers from CPG, retail, manufacturing, services, banking, fintech, and so on, and delivered more than 500 engagements, in fact, including more than 60 S4HANA implementations. And we have led S4HANA implementation since it was launched as far back in February 2015. We recently also helped deliver the first S4HANA Cloud private edition implementations, in fact, in India, in just as short as 3.5 months timeline. So that's a big achievement that we are very proud of, and we want to continue with it in the South African market as well. We have also helped customers to convert from the older ECC system to the S4HANA system. Again, one of the world's first 5 S4 conversions globally was done by us, along with a special team from Germany helping with this. We have also worked with more than 70 existing customers, in fact, in managing their SAP applications. And this has been done in a bimodal fashion where it's not just plain AMS. We also help the customer transform through upgradation, through enhancements, through rollouts, and improved system usage. The complete work, what you see, is delivered by a team of more than 400 SAP consultants who have extensive experience in S4HANA, as well as other S4 SAP transformative technologies. And with our experience across so many verticals, working with so many large, mid-sized organizations as well, we have created accelerators. So there are 200 such accelerators, which primarily address the white space in the SAP solutions. These are typically, if you do a project and during the implementation project, you might want to fill in some gap in the solution. So you resort to development. Instead, we have created these and kept it ready for our customers to use. Many of these accelerators are on in ABAP itself, which is the proprietary language of SAP. But other than that, there are solutions on the open source as well as on the business technology platform as well. With this accumulated knowledge across, as I mentioned, so many verticals, we have seen that most of the processes, or I would say 70 to 80% of the processes in a company in a specific vertical would be similar. So we have pre-configured these requirements in terms of processes, in terms of reporting requirements, in terms of master data needs, and kept it ready. So even before we start the implementation, we have something which resembles what a customer would actually see when they complete their implementation. So we are able to reduce the implementation by as short as maybe 60 or 70% of the timeline that you will normally take to implement this solution. We also work extensively with SAP in our customer engagements. We are a gold partner in SAP. There are co-innovations that we work with. And within South Africa also, we have a silver partnership. Our practice has been award-winning. The recent win has been the SAP S4HANA Cloud Partner of the Year, which was presented by SAP India. In addition to these awards, which are related to joint successes, we also have won awards for innovation as well as for our delivery capability. A recent example is our win at the SAP Surround on Microsoft Cloud Hackathon, where we demonstrated our capability in using Microsoft solutions, for example, Teams or Power Platform, Power BI, to create workflows which integrate with the SAP ERP system in the background and ultimately present a dashboard comprehensively covering the workflow with data from the Microsoft, from the collaboration platform, as well as from SAP. One of our ERP implementations also won the SAP Quality Award for fast delivery in 2016. And recently, one of our S4HANA and SAP Analytics Cloud implementation won the SAP ACE Award presented by SAP again and the SAP user group for a food and beverage company. So a lot of awards that have come our way to showcase our capabilities. Now, let's look at the actual topic of the webinar. While we have given a short introduction about Nihilent and our SAP practice. So let's take a look at what has changed, why we are talking about something called as the age of intelligence. I'm sure you all recognize these logos. And in our personal lives, if you see, they're now so much digitally entwined. Literally, most of these solutions are actually on the cloud. Can you imagine a day without these logos? I think it will be very difficult. For example, what is our primary source of entertainment? Is it the earlier television, for example, or something else? It's not. When we are ordering food, how do we do it? If I go to a new country also, if I want to order food, for example, it's like I download an app. In minutes, I'm able to place an order and get within half an hour or whatever time delivered it at my doorsteps. Now, while these have happened as far as our personal lives are concerned, things have changed. But when we look at our work lives are still the same. And the reason why it is so is because the engine which drives our work, the solutions, the legacy systems that we have, do not allow similar change to happen. So if you look at the technology curve, probably our enterprise applications are lagging behind. Our personal lives, in fact, have gone ahead. Something as simple, for example, during COVID, we found that many of the companies had great difficulty in managing their business processes. The reason being, the systems were more meant to be used not on the move, from your office, on a laptop, for example. And many businesses suffered because of this. I mean, these are very basic things, but that's the truth as far as our work lives are concerned. Now, I just showed you what's happening at the user level, both at a personal level as well as a business user level. But if you look at CPG companies, they are facing a lot of other challenges, business challenges, for example, even existential challenges coming from new entrants. There are new distribution models. For example, direct to consumer channel through e-commerce platforms. And there are a lot of startups which are now using or making use of these new technologies to disrupt traditional business models. Like, for example, Airbnb disrupted the hotel industry. And there are so many examples, you would have all heard of those. So you can see the impact of these transformative technologies on business from the various studies by IDC, by Gartner. The impact is huge. When you're talking about an impact of as much as $1 trillion, you can imagine what kind of figures are we looking at. In CPG companies, for example, traditionally they have been supplying to retailers, and the retailers have traditionally sold this, bought out items from the CPG companies to their consumers. But now CPG companies have started direct to consumer through e-commerce, while some retail companies, on the other hand, have also started manufacturing their own labels and branding their own products. And one of the main reasons why they have been able to do this is because of the use of transformative technologies, which are helping capture a bigger share of the customer's basket. One of our consumer durables customer, in fact, where we started the S4HANA implementation there into luggage handbags, when we started off, they were literally selling less than 1% through the e-commerce channel. But by the time we ended the implementation, that percentage had gone up to 17%. So you can imagine how fast things are changing. There is an air conditioning company that we are working with. They're talking of selling not air conditioners, but cooling as a service. So these options would not have been possible. This particular case is possible today because of big data, because of IoT, because of the service-based billing, which is possible in S4HANA. Now we look at the enterprise system. What are the changes that are happening? Right from the days of the mainframes, 1980s, 90s, to the client servers in the 1990s, and the advent of the digital cloud in the 2010s and 2000s. And while companies at this point of time went on digitizing what we're doing manually, there wasn't really a transformation. So it was mistakenly assumed to be digital transformation. But now what we are looking at is the availability of intelligent technologies such as machine learning, AI, IoT, blockchain, and so on, that can actually change the processes, can change the model completely. And then when it comes to the traditional ERP systems, where typically you would do your sales, procurement, accounting, there is a huge scope of change because of these transformative technologies. It's no longer sufficient to just run your sales cycle in your ERP system. It's also important to automate it. I'm not talking about EDI. Even today, there are a lot of orders which come from customers through emails. Can our system be intelligent enough to read that email or an attachment and convert it into a sales order intelligently and learn from it as well? So the next time that same customer, there's a mail, it'll know this is what you're supposed to do. And then the dispatch can become pretty seamless without much of human intervention. So this, all this will be enabled by the intelligent ERP. So ease of use, automation, scale up to handle massive amounts of data, automation in your processes, to have real-time predictive data, to have real-time information about what is going on in the organization, prediction, simulation, even recommendations by the system, which is all possible in S4HANA, for example. But while we have seen what all those transformative technologies can do, the legacy systems that we currently use are complex. They're built on decades-old technologies, and even if they're upgraded, they'll still have to support past processes, functions, interfaces, and you have to live with those limitations. It's like you have Windows, but you still have to live with DOS. I mean, that could be an analogy I can give. This means when you want to innovate, you need to look for solutions. Many people are doing it today. They are looking at creating a patchwork using some third-party tool, multiple applications which are now available, point solutions, and still carry the burden of the legacy. So as we have seen, while things have changed on the technology front, their adoption and their use in this age of intelligence is still not yet as common as it should be. Now, if you just look at CPG companies, for example, how are they adapting to the change? What do they need to do? What if you could quickly, for example, empower every employee to make faster, real-time decisions? You could eliminate the hurdles in your technology. For example, people still do a lot of batch processing as far as their accounting is concerned, or payroll is concerned, or even MRP is concerned. Can you redeploy your valuable resources, your people, for innovation, for customer value, instead of engaging them in repetitive tasks like perhaps downloading an Excel sheet and then converting it or keying it into your ERP system as a sales order? Can you deploy the power of the transformative artificial intelligence to differentiate your business model, reduce your IT cost, remove redundant software solutions? And the idea is you can always look at them in parts and try to build a kind of a patchwork, bring them all together, and assume that you'll become an intelligent enterprise. But will it generate the result, and will it be resilient enough to actually take you through? History shows that winners, I think, innovate, and they also renovate or re-innovate their business processes, models. They derive differentiated outcome in context of their industry. So CPG companies can also transform. Maybe competing as an ecosystem is just one of the things. They could enable new business models. We'll take a look at what are the possibilities, as well as they can deliver personalized outcomes for their customers, and not just customers, for their customers, which is consumers. Yeah. But with our legacy systems, which I already talked about, there is a lot of complexity, and you cannot transform. It's like you are still using an axe, like you are living in an iron age, and now even though you have a chainsaw, for example, you are not able to use that. So in the same way, we cannot hope to continue growing, sustaining our CPG businesses with the legacy systems, and not just different technology, but also a different mindset and a different set of practices altogether. Yeah. So I've presented some of the challenges. Now let us look at the key technologies that are enabling this for customers. For example, consumer goods company deal with a lot of suppliers, manufacturers, retailers, and they're all well defined. And as the industry wants to become more diversified, companies are looking at ecosystem where they can work with multiple partners to give a better experience to the consumer, to create new business models. Just an example of a food and beverage business, we know that food poisoning, for example, is a big thing, and it's a big concern for the consumers as well. For this to happen, since the food and beverage industry, there is a long supply chain starting right from the farm, and then there are intermediate processors, then there are the producers, and then there is the distributor. Then there are the transporters who take it from one place to another. So you need full distribution history. You need full production history, because tomorrow, if there is a need to recall the product, how do you do it? Today, it's a very disconnected system. Even the consumers are not very happy with the kind of information they get. How do you trust the data that is coming out of the system? How do you prove the provenance of the product? So blockchain as a service, which is available on the SAP business technology platform, that can help, and that holds the potential for securely capturing as well as exposing the transactions across the entire food supply chain, from sourcing, production, through delivery. Just an example, an open food supply chain network where participants could be farmers, could be retailers, could be logistics provider. They can publish information to a standard agreed upon blockchain ledger, creating a single version of truth which all participants can confidently refer to. And in fact, the consumer can be sure that things are working the way it's supposed to. Let's also take a look at enabling new business models. So traditionally, the consumer has a very single-threaded journey with inconsistent experiences. There are confusing offers. Even the messaging also is not proper. And ultimately, what happens is it diminishes the customer loyalty. The reason is because these experiences are based on one-size-fit-all strategy, where you have maximum segments of consumers rather than having one consumer and looking at one consumer. So there's a lot of wasted trade and marketing funds that go into the marketing budgets. The systems are siloed, disconnected, and this all goes to exacerbate the problem. In CPG, you have a supply chain, typically where you will have a channel where you have distributors, dealers through whom you actually deliver to the retailers, and the retailers in turn deliver to the actual consumer. Do you have a visibility today with your current business model? You may not have. So there are a lot of changes which are happening. A lot of companies are now looking at enabling direct to consumer channel. And what it can help you with is it will give you a better visibility. It will get you more closer to the consumer. You can then do better inventory planning. You can do better forecasting. You can look at higher revenue, cross-sell, for example. You can look at higher profitability. And SAP's customer experience solutions, intelligent enterprise solution, offer a single unified stack to streamline these processes. There are many CPG companies who are taking one step. Probably this could be the next step, but before that, they are they are creating a platform for their dealers, distributors, so that not only do they see their primary sales, what they are selling to their dealer distributor, they can also see what their dealer distributors are selling to the retailers or maybe to the large customers as the secondary sales. And what this will help with is to give you a better view, a closer view to the consumer, and help on all fronts like inventory planning and improving revenue and all. As consumers gain power, I think the number of producers, channels, they are proliferating. There is a lot of companies are now focusing on how they can attract the customer by providing more personalized service and outcomes that the customer is actually looking for. So advanced analytics, AI, ML can continuously gather and mine the data in real time across all channels, be it through the website traffic, be it through mobile apps, be it through call center interactions, through chatbot interactions, social sentiments, and so on. The relevant insight can then be delivered back to the consumer as a high-value service-based product, which can yield higher revenues and also more lucrative long-term consumer relationships. So using these insights, I think consumer goods companies can define user preferences, provide options to customize. One of our customers, which is into manufacturing mattresses, for example, they implemented S/4HANA. And now, instead of having a sequential flow where it takes weeks to deliver the product, now they are looking at a direct-to-consumer experience model where the configuration of the product is given to the consumer themselves rather than resting with the channel partner or the store where they may want to buy. And they have been able to shrink the delivery time from weeks to as short as 72 hours. I think it's a big change. The company has grown very fast in the last couple of years because they are now giving that personalized experience to the consumer. We talked about the intelligent enterprise. Let us now take a look at what it is all about. And I think if you look at this particular diagram of the SAP solutions, you have the intelligence suite, which is primarily your digital core consisting of SAP S/4HANA, where you take care of your design, buy, supply, make, sell, or your core processes. And embedded within it is analytics, embedded within it is also predictive capability. And then you have an industry cloud where SAP is is building a lot of industry-specific solutions, capabilities, and not just SAP, even the partners are being encouraged to build solutions. So this can manage your entire process as such. You also have the business network. You would have heard of Ariba, for example, where you have more than 5 million companies who are registered. If you want, there is a catalog of products. If you want to look for a certain material or a service, you can go and search for it on the business network. And the entire sourcing, collaboration, all that can happen on the network. And you would have done your full process, everything. You've tried to standardize everything. But what about your secret sauce? I'm sure every company has a secret sauce, unique, differentiated processes that they actually want to use. And that's what gives them value in the market. So there is the business technology platform which can help do that for you. You can innovate instead of touching your core processes. You can create solutions which incorporate advanced services, transformative technologies like, for example, blockchain. You can integrate with IoT and so on. And this can dramatically change and actually convert you into an intelligent enterprise, wherein you sense whatever data you can get from multiple sources, not only from your processes, not only from your customer, but also from devices. Get them in, convert that information into an intelligence, feed it back into your system, and then improve your processes, remove your bottlenecks, and whatever goals you have in terms of improved revenue, profitability, you can achieve all of those. So while we have seen intelligent enterprise, I think it's not a very new concept as such. We have been talking about the intelligent enterprise. But I think one of the very practical examples we have seen has been during the COVID crisis. So an intelligent enterprise, how would it have coped with the COVID crisis? I think one of the most important things is being on a digital platform. They were very resilient. They were on the cloud. There was no worry in terms of what is happening in their data centers or what is happening to their servers. They were able to reimagine their design. I can give you an example of a customer which is into home and personal care product. They immediately decided to, why not make sanitizers? I mean, that was a need at that point of time. And within weeks, they were able to turn it around. They were able to plan what all materials do they need, because their bill of material routing, everything was in the system. They were able to repurpose their manufacturing so that they could create those products. And even from a logistics perspective, knowing where there is a lockdown, where there is a requirement for such products, they were able to deliver, plan their logistics. And even on an operations side, they were able to ensure zero downtime, because it was important to continue producing. The manufacturing plants had to be on. So an intelligent enterprise definitely can actually help in being resilient, being able to overcome situations like this. So we have seen what intelligent enterprise can do, can help CPG companies overcome these business challenges. We've also seen what are the key technology enablers for that. Now let's see the roadmap to become an intelligent enterprise. So companies, I think, can become intelligent enterprise on three different tracks. One is obviously optimizing what they already do by implementing a stable, scalable digital core so that their processes are more transparent and integrated. They can also extend their current processes by connecting them to the real world, to the world of things using IoT technologies. They can also transform their business using this constant stream of data, maybe convert product into a service-driven business model as well. And SAP has a roadmap now, which is Rise with SAP, which is a business transformation as a service, where you have the business process intelligence, where you have the tools which are required. You have the infrastructure on the cloud available. You don't need to bother about it. You have the business technology platform where you can build innovations. You have access to the SAP Business Network, which I mentioned. More than 5 million companies are already on that. And you have S4HANA Cloud. to take you on this journey where you move from optimization extension to complete transformation of your business. So what does RISE offer? It's not just S4HANA Cloud. It also offers you the business process intelligence where your processes can be analyzed. They can be compared with your peers in your industry, where you are, and then you can look at what are the opportunities to improve. The business technology platform, which can help with your innovations. Yeah, the secret sauce that I talked about. And you have the business network, which is also available for you to actually work and compete as an ecosystem with other partners. And all of these are available as one contract from SAP. I think that's a big advantage because you don't need to look at the cloud partner. You don't have to look at maybe 3 different products, vendors, and then work with all of them and then worry about how you can integrate all of them together. So this is offered now as RISE with SAP. So next steps, if you see, I think what we need to look at is you need to do an exercise to benchmark yourself versus your peer group, which is also available against the RISE with SAP offering. You can identify the initiatives because you may not want to adopt everything in one go. You get starter packs, for example, for business network along with RISE with SAP. Try and use it, explore, see how useful it is, and then probably scale up on that. And once you have a roadmap of what all you are going to do over a period of maybe 6 to 18 months, try and implement them one by one or even in parallel. Maybe focus on operations first, then look at the building the intelligence, and also look at how you can bring your product, brand, customer experiences also into it. So ultimately, you become an intelligent enterprise. Now I'll hand it over to Ravine. What we have seen till now is from a theoretical perspective, what can be done. But I think Ravine can demonstrate a process of farm to fork process. So over to you, Ravine. Thanks.
Thank you, Sabahat. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Thanks for that introduction, Sabahat. So in today's demonstration, I'll be showing you the day in the life of our farm manager, Joe. So we'll go through the real-time visibility that farm manager Joe has all the way from his crops to his processing and production within his plant. We'll also see how he actually does the processing of the harvest. And once the processing and production has taken place, how does Farmer Joe and his operation actually handle sales orders within SAP and to actually get the stock out to customers on time? And finally, how do we track the deliveries once it's out there on the road? Sabahat mentioned the business network. I'll be taking you through some of the key features within the business network that is actually available within the RISE offering. So as you can see, Farm Manager Joe has a dashboard that he opens up every morning as he gets to work. He has all of the necessary information all on one dashboard or one view that will actually allow him to make real-time decisions on a day-to-day basis. So the sugar, like we mentioned early on, the sugarcane farm is actually a modern farm with IoT sensors that can actually pick up on the smallest things that happen within the farm. And this allows Farmer Joe to actually make real-time decisions to actually save his crops and to actually get his harvest done on time. So if we go into some of the farming operations, you can now have a look at exactly what is happening on the farm all the way just from his office. For example, you can have a look at the water irrigation or the water usage that's actually happening within the farm. Also, the water levels, because we all know that within farming, especially with the current situation in Africa with the lack of water or low, what call say, availability of water, all of our farm workers or farmers are actually trying to save water as much as they can and to actually best utilize their farm, the water to actually for their crops. If we look at some of the other tiles, you can see we have a full view on the actual pest control that's actually happening within the farm. Joe's farm has multiple very sensitive IoT sensors within his farm that can actually pick up on pests that may actually damage some of the crops. This will actually allow him to take action at any point in time. If we click on to the actual operational of the actual farm, you can actually see you can have a full-time visibility of how is his farm actually performing and where is he actually spending most of the money. So you can see 11% is actually going towards electricity, a lot's going towards fuel and water. But also looking at some of the other operational costs, farm manager Joe can actually have a view on his equipment, on what's actually happening within the farm. He has 42 machines available and 3 machines of these that actually require some attention. So this could actually allow him to integrate with plant maintenance. So once you get a trigger or an alert within the on one of the vehicles or some of the equipment, an automated response will actually go to the plant maintenance team, and a technician will then be shipped out to actually complete the repair or service the vehicle that needed to be done. But having a look at the resources, there's also the element of human resources. So from his dashboard, he can actually have a look at what's actually happening with his staff on the ground. He can click onto one of the resources and he can view if the actual worker has clocked in, what time has the worker clocked in, what's his plan for the day, and if he actually needs to make any changes or send him any instructions, he can send it directly to his mobile device. This gives him a better control of his entire shifts across the entire day. Also, looking at the market analysis, the market analysis are pulled directly into Joe's dashboard, which it gives him a broader view on what's actually happening outside of his farm. How can he actually compete with his neighbors within the region or also within the total market? Within SAP, you can see we have predictive analytics as well. The predictive analytics are based on SAP's built-in infrastructure for machine learning, and I would say all the machine learning algorithms, which will actually allow Farmer Joe to make, or his company to actually make better decisions and faster. On that, within the customer experience, surveys are always going out to the actual customers. And as you can see, once the surveys come back in, Joe can actually make better decisions on what's actually happening outside of his actual area. Having a broader look into his actual farm, Joe can actually have a look at a more granular detail. So he actually looks at what is happening within each specific lot of a particular portion of his farm to actually do some more, I would call it precision farming. If he clicks on the particular lot, it will actually show him the actual analysis of that particular spot of farming. And this will actually allow him to make decisions on that particular crop, whether it needs to be harvested now or if it still needs some more time, or to actually take action on that specific crop or that lot. Okay, going back into his dashboard, he now clicks onto his factory dashboard, factory tile, to actually have a look at what's happening within the space of his factory and his warehouse. If you look at the left-hand side, you can have a look at his inventory, the different levels, the usage of electricity within the warehouse or within the plant. How is it actually performing within the last few days? Or this can actually be set up for however you would like long that your business requires. Also, real-time decisions can be made on the warehouse capacity. We all know that if a warehouse is too empty, it actually costs money just to keep empty bins running without any product in it. But we also don't want product to be inside the empty bins for too long, as that then starts being costly as well. Within the CPG market, we know that temperature and humidity is extremely important within the environment. So all of these things can actually be monitored on a day-to-day basis. If you have a look at his alerts on the right-hand side, SAP actually talks to you and provides you with alerts and notifications so that you don't always need to have a look at your certain reports. If there is a trigger that needs for you to actually take action, you can actually have push notifications. So having a look at the actual requirement that went out, as you can see, this is a planned independent requirement. You can see as it starts from the material planning, it goes all the way into the supplying process. At this point, the production order may need to actually be confirmed. All the production worker needs to do is click on confirm. Saying this, the confirmation of the production order can be fully automated as well. But the production worker then logs in and confirms the order and he saves it. At this point, an automated goods receipt happens within the distribution center and the stock is then transferred. This can also be manually done if you do not have all of these processes in place, because as you start your operation or if you start your move to SAP S4, you may want to scale up your operation. But we all know that the sales are the most important. So I'm next going to show you how we actually get our sales delivered on time and in full. Okay, so the sales order has now been created within the system for our particular customer. The sales order has now been converted into a pick task within the warehouse, and this now needs to be sent out to the warehouse. The user always clicks on system guided. All of the tasks have been best utilized for the actual operation, and we don't actually want the warehouse workers on the floor to be making decisions. We want them to just follow the instructions to ensure our operation runs optimally. So the warehouse worker clicks on system guided. It then takes the worker to the actual storage bin where he needs to pick the stock of sugar. He actually picks up the sugar and then he scans the storage bin with it to confirm that it's there. Confirms the barcode on the actual label. And how much of stock does he actually need to pick up? Okay, once he has his order, he then goes to the dispatch part of the warehouse as he's going out. and delivers it, and next part of the delivery will take place. So if we go into the actual SAP Control Tower, the SAP Supply Chain Control Tower actually gives you a broad overview on what is happening within your entire global supply chain. As you can see, we have two plants for this particular company. One is in Eswatini and one is in South Africa. You can drill down into each of these for more information. We actually want to see some of the forecast accuracy. You can see it's running on 81%. How far and how good is everything being scheduled? And also, is everything being adhered to on time? If you want to go into more market and analytics, you can click on that particular tab. So now that the actual stock is at the outbound cage and it's actually ready to be picked up, this is where the transportation management comes into play, and the route has already been planned for the day. The driver arrives at the warehouse to pick up the stock. All he does is he takes out his app, logs onto the app, and he then gets his workload for the day. He picks up the stock, places it in the truck, and he also gets a fully automated trip that is calculated for him. This is all based on real-time telematics. So if there is any traffic on the route, or if there is any issues en route to a certain customer, the telematics will actually redirect the driver to a better route to ensure that he still makes it to his destination on time, and all subsequent deliveries will then be updated automatically. Notifications can also be set up to inform the customers that there's been a change within the delivery, and a new updated delivery date and time can then be expected. The driver then gets to the first customer. All he needs to do is pull out the application and give it to the customer to sign on the application. This is basically the proof of delivery. This allows real-time processing of the actual proof of delivery, and all of the subsequent finance documents can then take place at this time. We all know that proof of deliveries generally get lost on its way back, or some of the paperwork gets missing. Now we have a fully digital system that actually can track everything from the farm all the way to the customer and eventually the end consumer. So we saw what happens on the road now that the driver has picked up the stock and started delivering. But in the office, we still want to see what is happening with our driver and with our load. We have real-time updates on each stop. So you can also get more accurate data that can actually be downloaded to your actual application to show you where is the driver stopping, how long is he stopping for. This will then update your entire route. And this basically gives you a full view of the actual driver and the load and the shipment. This can be viewed in your control center. So now that the stock of sugar has actually been delivered to the supermarket, and the supermarket has now packed all of the sugar onto the shelves, the end consumer will actually then needs to buy the actual stock. You can actually pick up the sugar, scan the barcode, and you can have an entire view of the blockchain that was created from the farm all the way until the consumer has it in hand. This allows full transparency, and it also allows farm manager Joe to actually ensure that his product is fully visible to his suppliers and also to his end consumers, just to ensure that his business runs better as well. So just about the network And how does the network actually run? I know that we have 5 minutes. I'm going to actually stop at this one. There's a raw material supplier which is actually contributing to the network, and then the network participant is all of the suppliers that supply the ingredients that actually make up the sugar. So there's lots of other products or byproducts that actually make up the sugar, the end product. All of these are then participants and contributors. But the actual farm worker, or farm manager, or farm production of Joe, who's actually the sugar manufacturer, he owns the network. So the network is created by Joe, and it allows all of the other participants and contributors to enter into the logistics business network. And you onboard once, but you can stay into the network for as long as you like, opening up your business to other businesses to network within logistics. Okay, thank you.
No, that's fantastic, Ravine. In fact, quite
Thanks, Pratik.
wonderful to explain. Sure, yeah. I think that, I just didn't want to actually stop listening to you more because it was getting more and more interesting with every slide. How somebody operating out of a farm can create their own network and then have so many participants. And the fascinating part about the end consumer experience, right? And scan a pack of sugar and see
That's
the
what it's
entire
about,
journey.
yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. So, yeah, thank you so much, Ravine, and I'm sure everybody who's attending this webinar, definitely value the entire demo and what you actually showed, and then be it any size, scale, and complexity that you are in, you can definitely adopt something of that nature, and that is where the innovation is happening today at the on SAP's front, and that is where partners like Nihilent and the team that Sabahat represents make it happen for our clients day to day. So before we get into the question answer, a quick summary for all of you. I think it is of Sabahat kept on mentioning about the entire aspect of intelligence and connected ecosystem, and that was actually shown in practice by Ravine in his demo. It only allows organizations to transform, and transformation, as we mentioned right at the beginning, is to keep yourself relevant. Reimagine your business model, and that is actually possible. And it can only help you beat the competition and overcome the business challenges, and it's actually growing exponentially by every day. The uncertainty that we live in, and adopting an agile framework is absolutely required today. And when we talk about data, we talk about analytics, we talk about connected ecosystem intelligence. It's all about that. It's how quickly are you able to pick the pulse of your business? How ravine are you able to sense what's happening in the market outside, and how you're able to adopt and adapt to all these changes? So with that, thank you so much, Ravine and Sabahat. But before I kind of like say goodbyes. Cheryl, over to you for questions which the panel members can actually take. Cheryl?
Yes, thank you so much. And just another reminder, if you do have any questions, please enter it into the question pane in the GoToWebinar menu, and we will get them answered. We do have a few questions already. The first one is, we are a mid-sized consumer goods company. How does RISE with SAP help a company like us undertake digital transformation?
Yeah, I think I'll take that, Cheryl. So as I already mentioned about RISE, one thing is it is providing a roadmap. When you look at large enterprises, typically they would engage with a partner to do a digital transformation exercise for them. But here, RISE with SAP is already providing you a roadmap. And the roadmap is such that you can adopt at your pace. There are a lot of SAP solutions which many mid-sized companies do not have access to. But with RISE with SAP, SAP has provided those starter packs which are available, which companies can try, use, adopt, and they can be on a journey in a couple of months. They can maybe move on to S4HANA. Next step could be move to analytics, could use business technology platform, could adopt the logistics business platform, which Ravine just showcased. and then ultimately become an intelligent enterprise in as short as maybe 12 to 18 months time. I think that's a big value add for the mid-sized CPG companies.
Thank you, Sabahat. We'll move on to the next question. That is, what technology is used from farm to fork?
Okay, so I
think
can take
Ravine
this
would.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So this is actually built on material traceability, and this is one of the pillars within SAP's recent logistics business network. What it is it's SAP's native blockchain solution, which actually maps and stores the entire digital journey, like I showed, from the actually harvesting the crops all the way to the consumer. So to summarize, it's basically SAP's native blockchain.
Thank you. The second question, another question is, as a customer, we currently have some features that are working. Can SAP integrate with third-party solutions?
Yeah, of course. I'll take that on as well. So we know that lots of customers may have invested in some technologies and certain niche products. All of these can be integrated with SAP's BTP, which is the Business Technology Platform, which actually allows for third-party integration with APIs.
All right.
And just to add, there are hundreds of APIs which are readily available, which can connect to a lot of such solutions. Yeah, so you don't have to go around search and probably find what would be the right API. It's all available.
Thank you. The next question is, for a CPG company that is struggling to get its digital strategy and execution right, what are the 3 best practices you suggest that will help them seamlessly transition to digital at the same time, be able to constantly evolve as per the business landscape and customer demands?
Sabahat?
Yeah. So I think I have already covered that. The most important thing I think is to have a robust digital core. That's what the companies should plan. Second would be to now look at adopting solutions using the data which is being generated, integrate multiple systems, multiple sources of data using SAP's data intelligence solution. And third is the innovation pillar, which is whatever differentiating processes they may want to have, they can build it on the business technology platform.
Okay, the next question is, since you mentioned that you have done more than 60 S4HANA implementations, can you share an example of how S4HANA has helped any of your ECC customers transform themselves by implementing S4HANA? So, Sabahat?
Yeah, a lot of examples, but probably what I would highlight is something which I have already showcased, which is connecting or getting closer to your end consumer. So there is a solution we have called IDL, which is meant for the channel partners, for your distributors, dealers. So CPG companies normally don't do a direct to consumer. While that's an option, but still, if you want to adopt an intermediate step, you have a lot of distributors, you can provide this platform to them so that they can enter their orders for you, as well as they can book their sales which they are making to the retailers. So one of our customers has done that, and because of that, now they have visibility, which is not just the sale that they make to the distributor, but what the distributor is actually making to the retailer. And one thing is very clear in the supply chain of a consumer goods company: the more closer you are to the consumer, the better you can plan your inventory, the better can be your forecast, and higher can be your revenue and profitability. You don't get stuck up with, for example, if you're producing some food and beverage item, if the products don't get sold, then they will reach their expiry date and you lose out on that. So one of our customers has done that, and they are actually benefiting a lot from this.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's about, given the interest of the audience, they want to actually know more. We can, they can feel free to write to us, or we can reach out to them and share some more specifics. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, there is one more question. How important or useful is SAP Business Technology Platform in the RISE with SAP offering?
Ravine, you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. So business technology platform is actually it was called I can't remember what it was, but it's basically one of the layers that allows SAP SAP to actually enhance within SAP. So all of our standard processes and standard applications within SAP are actually it allows our customers to actually develop on that, and it allows you to actually integrate with third-party solutions with, like Sabahat mentioned, standard APIs.
Yeah, and just to add to what Ravine said, I think there are a lot of processes, practical processes that companies have where you have them touching the SAP system, but also touching other systems as well. So if you want to create a seamless kind of a workflow, I think Business Technology Platform is the solution for that. And there are a lot of other functionalities. For example, on BTP, you have access to a lot of services like blockchain services, IoT services, and you can kind of think of it like a set of Lego blocks which you can use, combine, and create a use case for yourself. And obviously, it's an SAP product, so you can be sure of the quality, robustness of the solution. I think that's a big advantage with BTP.
So I think it was previously called SCP Cloud Platform.
Yes, SAP Cloud Platform, indeed.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, everyone. I think we've come to the end of all the questions. We appreciate you being here. Thank you again for joining us today, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank
Looking
you so
forward
much.
to hearing back from everyone. Yeah, thank you.
Take care.